At the rise of civilization, ideas, resources, and tools are crucial to the development of cities as laws and belief systems are set upon each nation to act as the very foundations of the individual society. The first civilizations will pave the way of which the following will come to normalize and expand upon. But first, before any of this might be established, is the land that civilizations are built upon. Located in the northeastern tip of modern Tunisia in North Africa, I present to you the region of Carthage. There are many points that determine the viability of a region. First and foremost is the geography and coincidentally the natural barriers that exist. In the particular region of Carthage, the most apparent feature is the influential Mediterranean Sea to the north. The region itself is located onto a triangular peninsula, with the connection to the mainland Africa being only a narrow strip of land. To the west and the south are the Atlas Mountains of North Africa. They provide a strong barrier against invaders from the west. To the south and the east, of course, is the massive Sahara Desert, of which the civilization of Egypt knows well to be a powerful natural barrier. Carthage too will be able to benefit from the strong defensive measures of the barren Sahara. While this could possibly cause similar issues to Egypt in experience to isolation, unlike Egypt, by following a fertile coastal strip against North Africa, a connection with the early Europeans, also known as the late Neolithics, exists in the Iberian Peninsula. And eventually, the Mediterranean that acts as one of the greatest barriers in the ancient world will become an amazing opportunity for trade as seafaring capabilities advance. With the geography analyzed, it is crucial to also make note of the climate and usable water of which a civilization needs to feed itself upon. The climate of Carthage is much like what would be expected of a coastal Mediterranean city. Similar to the Fertile Crescent, Carthage barely ever drops below 10 degrees Celsius with highs in the 30s, giving very forgiving temperature and the ability to grow year-round. To the benefit of the region, Carthage experiences rainy seasons from September to March, although the months in between are relatively dry. The climate itself allows for growth of many of the same grains and produce that other rising civilizations are able to cultivate as well. And while it is undoubtedly an issue, the lack of rainfall is quickly alleviated by the amount of usable water that the region has access to. And now perhaps for the calling card of the region, the sheer amount of usable water that it has access to. For starters, many rivers run through the region and empty into the Mediterranean Sea. This causes Carthage to have many sea inlets to the north and the south, which are mixtures of salt water from the Mediterranean and the many rivers that come from the Greater Tunisian region. The region has its back to the Tunis Lake, a massive body of fresh water in close proximity to the area of settlement, and many of the rivers come from the Atlas Mountains as the snow caps melt in the warmer months. Some feed into Lake Tunis, others go directly to the Mediterranean. Regardless, the rivers form deltas as they progress into larger bodies of water, which expands the surface area and irrigatable land available to the farmers who will one day make this place home. Due to these reasons, Carthage will be more than capable of providing enough food for a growing population. But on top of the amount of farming they're allowed to do, these rivers, the proximity of the lake, and the access to the sea offer Carthage powerful routes of aquatic travel. The Gulf of Tunis envelops the entire peninsula of which Carthage is built upon the shores of, and it also works as a natural harbor of which will lead to more lucrative trade and access to a powerful standing navy in the future. The Mediterranean Sea will eventually become a major highway for trade, and Carthage, being in a secure spot at the rough center by the Strait of Sicily, would offer Carthage a powerful economic stronghold, much like Damascus in the Fertile Crescent. With the necessities of civilization underway, I would like to talk about two factors that will make Carthage not only survivable and habitable, but will make it a prosperous and thriving city many years into the future. The first of which is being farmland, which is one of the most crucial aspects to a thriving society, as not only is it the ability to produce food for themselves, but is the ability to produce an excess of food and resources, which in turn creates wealth. The area around Carthage is relatively flat, and especially in comparison to the rest of the northern African region. And rivers come in abundance, whether it's from Greater Tunis and the Atlas Mountains, or by branching off the Tunis Lake, all of which will empty into the Mediterranean. Both of these factors will make Carthage more than capable of being irrigated and sectioned for large swaths of farmland to feed a growing population and also create an access of resources. This is especially important because Carthage is unique in being able to produce grapes, olives, pomegranates, nuts, and dates, as well as the traditional grains and vegetables that feed a population. The access of resources and creation of wealth ties into the next point, trade. Eventually, as the seafaring sector advances and more civilizations see the opportunity of the Mediterranean, Carthage's location will allow it to stand center at the growth of the Mediterranean trade. With their natural harbor in the Gulf of Tunis, proximity to the sea, and the strategic location to control the trade east and westward, it will become a powerful naval trade hub. But as Damascus is for Mesopotamia, Carthage can also be for Africa, allowing traders to bring the riches of Africa and enter into the Mediterranean. Carthage itself, due to the fact of being able to supply enough food for their own people, is clearly able to create a surplus of food that they are more than willing to trade away. And besides farmland, other benefits of the region are wealthy mineral deposits near the Atlas Mountains, opportunities to fish, both fresh and salt water, and the breeding ground for sea snails that act as the only source of the revered purple dye. And while wealth is yet to be made, perhaps even more crucially is the ability for this region to trade ideas and thoughts with others. For the reasons mentioned, to not settle upon the region of Carthage is easily seen as a prospect lost. And to the knowledge of the forgotten of history, the first to do it will be those remembered. So make your way to Carthage, be it land or sea, probably sea. Stick a spade in the ground and call the soon-to-be trade hub of the ancient world your own.